goes on and on. I think the democratized AI movement is truly getting into the AGI space. And so I'm going to kick off with kind of a couple of things. How do you measure AGI? And I think the Gaia benchmarks, so we run Gaia benchmarks every night on our own enterprise platform. As you can see, Claude is leading the pack with some of these benchmarks here. But the open source wave is not far behind. It's really Quen, Meta, they're not too far behind in terms of the Gaia benchmark accuracy. So that's one case in point. I was going to also quickly showcase a few pieces here since we are at the computer. So this is, so we have open source LLMs, right? So Danube, let me just click a few slides here so we can trigger through. So Danube, 1 billion, 2 billion, 4 billion parameters, open source, open weights model. Now, I think the trick to this one is going to be very simple and fun. So let's say, how should Paris use generative AI to foster AI community for its citizens? Again, this is an easy question. You might have asked it a few times. What's interesting about this is now we're going to go completely offline. And I think, ask this question. And I think what you're going to see is kind of a truly on-device LLMs, right? So the on-device LLMs have come of age. And this LLM is actually running completely natively, right? Sort of for you on-device, and beginning to see how kind of the open source LLMs, small LLMs, so the rise of the small LLMs. And I think the good thing about this of the phone is it's now essentially, and it's not an iPhone newer one, it's an older phone. It runs on Google as well. So the LLMs now running locally natively, and you can see the rise of the small LLMs, no longer a super secret, the SLMs. Our teams built this model in a fraction of the cost. Right? So it's being state-of-the-art minus 3 to 6 months means you can actually build these models really super simply. Again, a very small team with about 6 trillion tokens, so it's not a small affair, right? Sort of we're using a lot of AI to do that labeling, AI to do the data cleaning. So a lot of really algorithms helping you build the models. The advantage of a small model is you can absolutely now deliver a super high punch. You can fine-tune these models on small hardware, right? Sort of so everybody can truly start building this. So the 500 million, 2 billion, and 4 billion parameter models that we released earlier, and every season we are releasing a model. So that brings me to the next model we're going to talk about, which is as yet unreleased. So we're kind of in that cusp of announcing it. So Document AI is how we came to LLMs. And for years, we worked with enterprise documents, and ML-powered applications is how Document AI V1 was. And you can see that ML-powered apps have a very high kind of technical debt, right? As data changes, you have to rebuild all the pipelines. Then came Document AI V2, which was LLM-powered, from ML-powered to LLM-powered. And I think this is a metaphor. Most of your SaaS applications are going to go through the same transformation. And from LLM-powered to actually a purpose-built LLM for that problem. And that's what we're bringing out as Mississippi. We're naming our models after rivers. And I think the future evolution of this is you're going to use an agent to call these specialized Document AI or other purpose-built tools. And we're going to demonstrate some of the tools there. But the characteristics of these models are you're trying to do ML to do prompt tuning in the LLM-powered, which is prompt tuning. But I think as you get to the LLM as a whole, right, the VL, visual language LLMs, you're basically able to do a much more simpler architecture. Here are some of the characteristics of this model. It is obviously one of the world's best in its class for text recognition on OCR Bench. And I think it's beginning to kind of slowly surpass many of its class models, and it's also batting somewhat above its class in some of the classic bigger benchmarks. In some cases, InternVL 26 billion is behind the H2OVL Mississippi. You're going to see that release almost in a few hours, and this is probably a early pre-review of that. Again, how we built it, how the team has built, brought a really a very good punch, if you will, to the mix, and you're going to see some of that talked about in full detail in the paper. I think one of the interesting aspects is the team actually found that combination of the CNNs, MLPs, and the transformer architectures can really, truly give you some really superpower on trying to focus. Purpose-built LLMs, SLMs, and fine-tuning them, and learning the art of fine-tuning them using LLM Studio, which is another open-source platform that the team has released. So that's the other, I would say, really around the corner VL LLMs, VL models that are right there.